So yeah, just sitting on the front steps. I remember sitting here when I was 10. Very clearly. Actually, I remember sitting here when I was 10 on my birthday. So when was that? I turned 13 in 1989. So I turned 10 in 1986. 86, I reckon that was probably a good year. I'm sure it was. Because I remember how happy I was on my 10th birthday, because my nan rang up and she wished me a happy birthday. And guess whose birthday it is today? Sunday the 18th of March 2018. It's my nan's birthday. Have I wished her a happy birthday? Not yet. But I'm going to, right after I make this video. And it's a little hard though, because she's a bit deaf and finds it hard to hear on the phone. So my nan, actually her name, my nan's name, like I like to do this thing with words. Well, I guess it begins with letters, doesn't it? There's 26 letters in the alphabet. 26 letters in the alphabet, and if you assign a number to each letter, starting with A equals 1 and Z equals 26, then you can do this little thing called gematria, where you add up the value of a word. And usually people might add up the value of their name, for example. And the name Jacob Wetterling, oh, a branch just broke off my willow tree. Did you hear that crack? That was it. That would have made me move quick if I'd been under it at the time. I was over there before. But I was listening for cracks. Oh, what's the worst that could happen? You could only die? No, that's not the worst. Dying's not the worst. The worst that could happen, you could end up with a broken neck. Yeah, that'd be worse. Jake Wetterling died when he was 11. So not much older than what I was when I was sitting here when I was 10. Sitting here on these steps when I was 10 years old. Well, Jake did not live much older than that. He was 11. And of all the things that could happen, he's just riding his bike down to the local store, the Tom Thumb convenience store, in his little rural neighborhood, which was in Minnesota, in America. Little town called St. Joseph. Quiet, sleepy little rural town. And he's just riding his bike down to the local store for the first time ever with his best friend Aaron and his little brother Trevor. And what happens? Some guy walks out of the dark as they're coming home, and they've hired the movie The Naked Gun, which I think goes back to around 1986. And this was on Sunday the 22nd of October 1989. And what happens? Some guy comes out of the dark, stops them, orders them off their bikes, makes them lie in a ditch, asks them their name, their age, lets them know he's got a gun, a handgun, a pistol. It's not a joke. And he selects Jake. He could have just as easily taken one of the other two, but he took Jake. Could have just as easily taken his friend, Aaron. But he told Aaron and Trevor to run. Run for the woods and don't look back or I'll shoot you. So they ran. Pretty soon they did look back because Jake, they realised, wasn't with them, and they never saw Jake again. Because the guy kidnapped Jake, took him in his car. For years, no one knew what happened. No one knew who did it. No one knew what happened to Jake. It was just like some guy took Jake. Eventually, a case was solved in 2016. So many things floating around today. Floating around, riding around on a breeze. And yeah, the guy took Jake in his car, took him to a remote location, like out in the middle of nowhere. It's night time. Can't imagine the horror. Jake asked, "What did I do wrong?" Because the guy had put him in handcuffs in the back seat of the car. And yeah, it took him to a place where there was no one else. Sexually assaulted him. Like made him strip. No one really knows what happened. Do you believe the word of someone like that? Do you believe what they say? No one knows. But what is known is that he did kill Jake. He shot him. He says he shot him because a police car went up the road just at the point where he was trying to work out what to do with Jake, who by then was crying and asking to be taken home, and the guy said, "I can't take you home," and Jake started crying, and then he says he panicked because there's a police car went past, you know, up a quiet dirt road like this, like a police car went past with lights on. So that's when he decided, nah, I have to kill this kid. So he shot him. He shot Jake. You know what makes it really bad? Apart from everything I've just said, you know what makes it even worse? Is that he told Jake to turn around, and Jake did what he was told. He turned around. He aimed the pistol at Jake's head and pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. The gun clicked, and at that point Jake turned around again, faced him, knowing what had just happened, but paralyzed, frozen with fear. And then he pulled the trigger again, and Jake's life ended. So that's Jacob Wetterling, and his surname means, Wetterling means weather child. And one of the worst hurricanes ever to hit America was Hugo. And Hugo hit in 1989. A couple of months before Jake, no, not even months, a couple of weeks before Jake was abducted. Hugo went on a path of destruction across the Caribbean, then hit America. And Hugo is actually the name of a place in Minnesota. And there's another place in Minnesota called Spring Valley, which is actually the name of this property where I live. Spring Valley. I only found that out recently. And the boy I've connected to Jake from Australia, the boy from Australia who I've connected to Jake, was Nathan Breeze. 13-year-old boy. I remember being 13 too, but my memory of being 13 is not a happy memory. It's not a good memory. Not like when I was 10. That was awesome, that was blissful, it was exciting. I was just happy to be alive. But at 13, something had changed. And I know something happened to me when I was 13. Something pretty bad. But the guy that approached me at Western Park on or around Wednesday, the 6th of December, 1989. Something went wrong with his plan with me and I got away. I got away, but I don't know what happened. There was a period of time where I've just blocked it out and I have no memory what happened. But I made it back to the school picnic, which was half a K away. And I made it home that night, but I have no memory of any of that. Or at least I don't believe I do. I don't know what happened. I do remember the guy approaching me and talking to me and asking, do you like aquariums? Come with me, I'll show you an aquarium. And I knew, no, I can't go with this guy, but he was in a car too. Oh. Something else just broke. Did you hear that? Everything's breaking, man. It's a violent day today. These winds are violent. And you know, Jake, you know, talk about fate, bad fate and life. The word fate equals 32, has a value of 32. And life equals 32. And dog equals 26. There's 26 letters in the alphabet. And Jacob Wetzeling had a pet dog. I was about to tell you that. This one's named Toby. And yeah, Jake named his pet dog Marcus. And yesterday, what happened yesterday, Toby? What happened yesterday? Darwin got hit by a cyclone, didn't it? Named? What was the cyclone's name? It's Marcus. It wasn't Toby, it was Marcus. Cyclone had the same name as Jake's dog. Didn't it? Yes, so true. Spell dog backward, you get God. This dog or God has a value of 26, and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. So Z equals 26. And yeah, 26 letters in the alphabet. Nathan was 13, 2 13s are 26. Do you reckon Marcus might have a twin? Hey, Licky. Toby's a nice dog, he's got a great personality. And I reckon Jake's dog would have had a great personality too, because Jake had a great personality. And I think dogs tend to reflect their owners, usually, not always, but usually. I mean, everyone can end up with a bad dog, but yeah. Toby's a nice dog, aren't you? Aren't you? He loves hugs. And yeah, Marcus. So much stuff breaking and falling down. Nathan Breeze. Today is more than a breeze. It's big winds today. And Nathan died on a day of big winds, Black Saturday, 2009. If Marcus does have a twin, it will be named Nora. I mean, there was already Cyclone Linda. Linda actually died the same day Marcus was born, which was the same day that Stephen Hawking died, which was Wednesday the 14th of March, 4 days ago. And I mentioned my nan, whose birthday is today. Well, my nan's name, just her first name and her last name, has the same value as Jacob Wetzeling. 164. 164 is the value of Jacob Wetzeling. And that's a cool cloud. And what's another word that equals 164? Obviously there's heaps, but one is volcanologist. volcanologist equals 164. And the first thing I ever connected to Jake was not cyclones or weather, even though his surname I later found out, much later, in 2014. Because I first read about Jake, came across the story of Jake in 2010. Very start of February 2010. 2 months later, there was a big volcanic eruption in Iceland. And the volcano's name is it's something like, don't quote me on this, but it's something like Eyjafjallajökull. It's a volcano in Iceland. And that volcano, move back so I can film you. It's that volcano also has a value, the name of the volcano also has a value of 164. So it's the first thing I ever connected to Jake, was this volcano, Eyjafjallajökull. You need to actually call someone in Iceland and say, how do you pronounce the name of that glacier volcano? Because I can't. But it has that kind of sound to it. And it's got to sound like yogurt. There you go, Toby. Anyway, I'm just going to go inside and... Wow, so windy. Ooh, so dark. And what's happening? Well, not surprisingly, there's fires in Victoria burning out of control. You'd expect that today with the way their things are. It was even worse down there last night. I just want to see how strong the wind is in Canberra. 54. The value of love. Love equals 54. Jacob equals 31. And there's a boy I know who I think is a reflection of Jake. And Nathan. And he's 15 years old right now. Jake died on the 22nd of October 1989. Wetterling, weather child. Weather child. Weather boy. That's how his name, that's what it means. So like I said, he died on the 22nd, and Nathan Breeze died on the 7th. And Nathan Breeze died at number 9. And he died near Melbourne. And what have we got? It's 2:07. That's the time in Canberra now. 18th of March 2018. Well, if Marcus has a twin, like I said, it will be named Nora. There's Marcus now, over the top end. There's the front that's whipping up these violent winds today, breaking all the trees. And it was a day like today, except much worse, when Nathan died. Nathan died in the Black Saturday bushfires. So if the fear that Jake felt was bad, I think the fear Nathan felt would have been even worse.